Amid crime spike, Biden meets with police chiefs. Crime forces Jersey Shore to close beach, boardwalk. At least 108 shot over July 4th weekend. If you follow the news, it may feel like any one of us at any time could be victim of a crime. But not just any crime, violent crime. We already saw a nearly 25% jump in homicide rates from 2019 to 2020, according to the Major Cities Chiefs Association. And in the first 3 months of this year, the rate is already up again. This is the first significant spike we're seeing since the 90s, when the homicide rate was even higher, 40% higher. So why is deadly crime making such a comeback? Well, that depends on who you ask. Everything from COVID to gun sales to anti-police protests are being blamed. So let's start with the pandemic, which brought stress and stole jobs. Unemployment hit a peak of nearly 15%, according to the Congressional Research Service. A 54% spike in alcohol sales shows people turned to substances to cope. Sociology professor Alex Picaro says all that stress has consequences for human behavior.
There's no book on the shelf that says, okay, here's what you do during a pandemic, because you and I never lived through one of those or lockdowns like that. And so no one knows how to react to that.
And yeah, we know people bought up all the toilet paper, but they were also buying more guns. Sales hit their peak in 2020, according to Small Arms Analytics. Democrats are quick to point out that too many guns on the street is one of the reasons for more violent crime. But experts like criminology professor Justin Nix say there's more to the story.
The uptick in violence seems to be a uniquely American thing. So, we argue it's more likely the result of a legitimacy crisis.
When he says legitimacy crisis, he's referring to one for police, especially in the wake of George Floyd's death. It motivated protesters to call for defunding the police and to question an officer's role in society. Their relationship with the people they protect has deteriorated, Nick says, which means police...
They become less likely to make stops, to make arrests, to proactively engage with suspicious persons.
Essentially, he says police are weary, and apparently so is the community.
Citizens become less likely to call the police to report suspicious crimes or to call the police for help.
Then there's the number of cops on the street. Between 2020 and 2021, the officer retirement rate jumped by 45%, according to a Police Executive Research Forum survey of about 200 departments. A 2018 Princeton study estimates that, quote, each additional sworn officer is associated with 4.27 fewer violent crimes, meaning with more officers, there's less crime, and with fewer officers, there's more crime. Right now, that's the case, which is how the bad guys like it.
They feel emboldened. They feel like it's less risky to carry guns in public or to use their guns to commit crimes.
With that being said, the question becomes, what's the solution? Liberals say police reform and gun control. That's why President Biden and congressional Democrats are pushing for a police reform bill. Meanwhile, conservatives say Democrats are just soft on crime. Texas Governor Greg Abbott is one of the latest to call for bail reform, quote, that will keep dangerous criminals off the streets. Texas lawmakers are considering it. Some experts, like Picaro, say there are also less polarizing options already being used in some cities around the country, like adding streetlights to dark neighborhoods, more video surveillance, and even violence interrupter programs.
Every program has a different kind of name to it, but basically involves either using ex-felons or ex-offenders, and they actually go on the streets to work with at-risk kids or known criminals and kind of say, hey kid, I was you, don't turn out like me.
In Chicago, the group Violence Interrupters says they mediated 65 high-risk conflicts involving gang violence in 2020. No matter the approach, one point everyone can seem to agree on is that something needs to be done. So what do you think is the answer? Increase police presence, spend money on mental health help, or is it time to restrict guns? Let me know in the comments.